Hello, welcome everyone. Um, Today we are going through all things websites. I'll just give everyone a few minutes to join. I am joined by the lovely John Wilson today. Unfortunately, we were just chatting before. We've had a few technical difficulties. I am struggling with Zoom at the minute. We're having a bit of a disagreement. So unfortunately, we can't see John's lovely face, but we can hear his lovely voice instead, which is absolutely fine. John, do you want to just give a quick hello so everyone knows that you are here?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm John. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, fabulous. So it looks like most people are here, so we will get started in a second. So just a formal introduction to myself. I'm Holly. I'm here at Start Digital, and we want to bring you weekly webinars to help business owners and people who work within a business to grow and future-proof their businesses. So as well as these weekly webinars, we do a whole host of different things as well. So we have an online training portal that helps keep you accountable, also gives you some helpful tips and tricks that you can do on your own business. We also do some in-person and online training sessions as well. And we do quite a lot of the different things. And we try to see ourselves as like a personal trainer, but instead of for fitness, it's for your business. So we hold you accountable. We teach you things that you might need to know. And also we keep check along the way. So we just want to make sure that everyone's growing in the right direction. So that is an introduction to me and Start Digital. John, would you like to introduce yourself as well? Just tell everyone a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's John Wilson, and I'm the web designer here at Make a Difference Marketing. I've been in the industry for about 13 years. I've been involved with branding, websites. Yeah, basically that's like both sides of things. So yeah.
Interesting, fabulous. So we will get started straight away then. So obviously, we're talking about websites today, as we did mention, and we want to go through a few things that if you do have a website and you feel like it's just not working for you, some simple tips and tricks that you can do in order to improve the performance of the website. So first, John, can you just tell me, obviously, with having so much experience in the industry, what are some of the common problems that you find that business owners tend to face when it comes to their website?
They have quite a few problems, obviously. I've actually noted down about 9 different reasons. So
Mhm.
one is a poor user experience. If it's a complicated navigation, a confusing layout, that can put people off straight away. Lack of mobile optimization is a common one. Obviously, a lot of people now use a mobile devices. I think it's like over 60%. And to be honest, it's probably more than that. It's probably more like 80% of people are now using mobiles to access a website. Not being found on Google. It's pretty common. People don't really know how to optimize a site for like search engines. Security concerns. Obviously, data is a big thing now, so that's a big thing. Inconsistent branding. So from the website to social media, it all needs to be consistent. Content overload or underload as well is a big thing. So you can either have too much content, like too much written content, which people don't really want to read, people kind of skim it, or you can actually have too little content. So it's getting the balance right, basically. Broken links, 404s as well. So people land on a page and it doesn't take them anywhere. Yeah, it's obviously, it puts users off. People don't tend to navigate back, to just leave the site. Slow website speeds is a big one, and failure to update the content. So Google absolutely loves regular content. Also, users do as well because it just shows that you're active in the industry and you are keeping things up to date. So they're like the 9 points, really.
Interesting. I think that last one's quite interesting, the keeping things up to date. I always find if I search for some sort of service on Google, and I find a website and it looks like it's still in like 2011, and even it says like it has like the date at the bottom. If it says
Yeah,
something that's quite a few years ago, I always think I don't know if this business is still going anymore. So I think
exactly.
regularly updating can be really helpful for that, can't it? Because it shows that you are still around, you're still working.
Yeah,
Really interesting points there. I think mobile optimization as well is something that people do tend to forget, isn't it? Oftentimes in a business, we use our laptops or computers, so we see what the websites look like on our big screen. But a lot of times we forget to see what it actually looks like on our phone. So I think that is really important.
Yeah, to be honest with you, there's something called mobile first web design as well. So design for mobile initially, and then going upwards into like desktop design. So that's
Mhm.
actually a good practice to do for web designers, to be honest. It's like just making sure it looks right on mobile, and it's obviously your call to actions are in the right place, and it's just not confusing for users basically. So yeah.
Interesting, interesting. Okay. And obviously, you've said to make sure that it looks right. And obviously, we know that a website may look really good, can't it?
Hmm.
But a lot of the times, there can be issues with maybe the way that people interact with the website, so the journey that the customer goes on. Is there any problems that you find businesses tend to face when it comes to customer journey on a website?
Yeah, so I think navigation is quite important. In terms of mobile, it tends to be a hamburger, which is fine. But what they say is you should have about seven top links on your navigation, no more than that. You try and keep it as minimal as possible. So even if you have less, if you have like three top links, it's even better because you direct them, you're following people then down to like the places you want them to go. So that's quite important. Call to actions as well. So you could have some content on the page, but is there any way for like people to know what to do straight away? Is there a button now after the text to say, right, make an inquiry or inquire about this product or, buy this product? That's important. Um, Trust signals as well. So things like testimonials, secure payment options, SSL certificates, like the little green lock that appears next to your web address. That's really important, particularly for like e-commerce websites. What else? So contact information, like that's quite important as well. If you could have that kind of prominence on your website, make it as easy as possible to people to find your telephone number, your email address, and also things like FAQs, or even the chatbot's quite good. Just different ways for people to interact and get in touch with your team, basically, to inquire about the business. Um, what else? Pop-ups. So basically, don't have too many pop-ups because it can put people off. Um, yeah, and I think that's about it, really.
Okay, interesting. And just back to what you said at the beginning, just to make sure everyone's clear. So, in terms of, did you say like the navigation bar or the menu on the top? So, you said it's recommended that you have as few options as possible. So, did you say like
Yeah.
around three would probably be best?
Well, ideally they say no more than seven.
Okay.
So that's the maximum.
Mhm.
But the least you have, it can be even better because you're going to direct people to the places you want them to go. Like do that as much as you can do, you
Okay,
know, make it as simple as possible.
interesting. And you mentioned the hamburger as well. Could you just explain what that is?
Yeah, so a hamburger menu is like three lines that appear on a mobile device. It's usually in the top right corner as well. That's what people expect to see it. And that just brings a drop down option rather than it being obviously across the top of the website.
Interesting. Thank you. And so, if businesses are facing issues with the customer journey, or they just feel like they're not getting a lot of leads or enough leads from their website, is there any tools that you could recommend that they use to maybe find a little bit more information about this, or maybe to try and to fix the problem?
Yeah, so that, I mean, there's several pieces of software. The one I'm going to mention first is called Hotjar, which is kind of a user experience program, really, really powerful. It's got the ability to basically track how people use your website, has heat maps, so it shows how far you scroll down a website before people like click off, or maybe it shows how you click through the website. It even records the screen recordings of people actually using your site so you can see where people are going, maybe getting a bit confused, and looking to make like decisions basically. You can also create surveys, which is really good. You can like ask for people's feedback directly, and you do find that people will give you the feedback, which is really good. Also, you've got the likes of Google Analytics, so you can install that on your website, a little bit of code, and that'll track where people are coming from, different devices, how I'm spending on the site, the most prominent pages that people are going to, which one's the most successful kind of thing. So that's a really good tool to have. You've got Google Page Speed Insights as well. So that'll also show you a breakdown of how you can speed up your website, where your site is, yeah, like making you slow, basically. Um, and also, this is something slightly different, but just a tool is ChatGPT. I think it's a fantastic way to like generate new content. So things like creating articles, you can just get like ideas for it. You can just type in something like, give me 10 ideas for a specific industry, and it'll literally come back with those ideas. I wouldn't recommend asking it to write the article because it's believed that Google can pick up that you're basically using AI to write it. It's like actually getting quite clever, the search engine algorithms. So yeah, use it for ideas, but maybe don't use it to write your copy.
Okay. And if you were to use ChatGPT to write your copy, and
Yeah.
obviously Google may be able to tell that, are there any implications? Are there any kind of negative things that could happen from that?
Yeah, if they actually find out that you are using it, then they can penalize the content and mark it down as spam. So yeah, I haven't had that issue yet, but
Mhm.
it is out there in the news.
Okay, so does that mean that potentially if you are marked as spam, then your website might not show up to other people? Is that
That's
what would
correct.
happen?
Yeah, yeah, those particular pages, and especially.
Okay, interesting. My favorite tool is Hotjar because I'm really nosy and I absolutely
Okay.
love sitting there and watching the videos of people who use websites because I think sometimes when you have your own website, you become so familiar with it that you don't realize what it looks like to other people, do you? And then when you
Mhm.
go on Hotjar and you see recordings of how people interact with it, and you might see that they're clicking on something that they think is a button or they're not quite sure how it works. It's really interesting, really useful tool.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Do you have a
definitely.
favorite tool, John?
I'm probably the same. It's probably Hotjar. I do like that tool, to be honest. Um, yeah, I like ChatGPT as well. I do like AI. Gotta be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, me too. I use it for absolutely everything.
yeah,
Okay, interesting. And do you find, I know we've gone through some of the problems and issues that a lot of business owners do face. Do you find that
yeah.
there's any issues that maybe some industries seem to come into contact with more than others, or do they seem pretty even across the board?
Pretty much is similar issues with websites like slow load time, poor user experience. It's that kind of thing. Um, yeah, maybe it's in terms of server-based business, it's kind of like they need to kind of give detailed information about their offering and pricing quite clearly. Um, Effective lead generation forms, maybe as well, kind of like getting the right kind of fields in place make sure they're getting the right leads. Yeah, and again, e-commerce is kind of like trust signals, kind of the payment security, and even reviews quite powerful for e-commerce, like maybe seeing what other people think of the product, stuff like that. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And I know, obviously, a lot of, especially service-based businesses use things like either lead forms or booking systems. Is there any advice that you have for anything like that? Is there any issues that people tend to find there, or is it more of the kind of structure of the websites?
Um, so I guess in terms of like e-commerce again, I'd say it's things like making the checkout process as easy as possible. Like, so make you break down a long form to a shorter form. You can make them into steps, like on different pages, rather than get overwhelming people with a lot of information. Again, making sure that green lock's on there. What else? So I suppose with healthcare, it's you got to think about like data protection regulations. Um, and obviously, it's just the forms. I think making sure that they're kind of secure, but also that they're not overwhelmed to users.
And what advice would you give to business owners who want some quick wins or want to make their customer journey more clear? Is there any kind of quick tips that you could give?
Yeah, so obviously simplify your navigation. Have a look what's really important on it, what's must be kept, and just making it easier to get to those really important key pages that are going to convert the customers. Optimizing for mobile, so making sure have a look on it and just make sure it's you're not scrolling down forever before you get to do like the call to actions, things like that could be quite important. Um, Again, optimizing the checkout booking process, making sure the forms are shorter. Um, Make sure you update your website regularly with content. Like a blog post is totally fine. That's like really valuable. Easy access to the contact information, as I mentioned earlier, is really important. Um, yeah, and just track your data basically on Google Analytics.
And in terms of the data, is there anything in particular that they should look out for in the data? Is there any metrics that they should keep an eye on or track or aim to improve?
Um, Yeah, obviously you need to look at the bounce rate of pages. So like if a page got particularly high bounce rate, you want to try and get that down. So that page might need redesign or just looking at and trying to find out why has it got such a high bounce rate. Um, Maybe, yeah, like just identifying the pages that are the most successful and then enhance them further. Can you convert, make them convert basically?
And you've mentioned about making obviously the checkout system as seamless as possible and also having a lot of call to actions.
Yeah.
So would you recommend when it comes to call to actions, would you recommend you have them on every page or would it just be specific pages?
Um, I would say it's probably on most pages, to be honest. It's on most pages. I would say, yeah.
I suppose that helps with the navigation, doesn't it? If it's always there for
Yeah,
someone to click on.
yeah, exactly. It's also be descriptive with the buttons. Don't just say like click here or contact us. Maybe say, buy this particular product or we do work for a camper van company, so you could say like um convert your camper van now in the button. Just be more descriptive so people know what they're going to do when they click that button.
Okay. And if a business owner only had 20 minutes a day, which isn't a lot of time, but obviously a lot can
Yeah.
get done in that time, what would you recommend that they do with that time to ensure that their website gets better results?
So definitely have Google Analytics on your website. Analyze it for maybe 5 minutes a day, and just try and identify pages and behaviors of your users, so you can like enhance your site further. Um, so that'll help you like target the different areas that you need to work on. You can then look at your key conversion pages and enhance them further, as I mentioned. Optimize it for mobile if you can. Just make sure it works on all devices. Do this test your site speed. So you can use that app I used to talk about before, Google Speed Optimization, I think it's called. That's really good to like just identify where your site's slow and that. Um, Again, add fresh content regularly, maybe like once a week is totally fine. You can check for broken links as well. There's different things you can use. If you're using a WordPress website, there's plugins you can install and I can track 404 errors, which is really good because then you can redirect those 404s to a particular page, which is a very powerful thing. And lastly, just review your competitors' websites, see what they're doing well, maybe take some ideas from it. And yeah, just optimize your site to compete basically.
And just on the topic of the tool that you mentioned that increases that can help you see the speed of the website, is there anything that people can do to increase the speed? Is there any kind of changes that they can make to improve that?
There is. If you build sites with WordPress, like I say, there's a lot of plugins for that. So there'll be like caching plugins. So there's one called W3 Total Cache that we use for our sites. This is that you can do. You can shrink your image sizes. So before you actually upload your images to websites, you can optimize them using Photoshop or other software, just to make sure that they're not taking ages to load. Um, some of it's a bit technical. So it's things like, JavaScript. You can reduce the amount of JavaScript files you've got, which can reduce the amount of load speed, how long that takes to load. So you might need some technical help with doing that kind of thing.
Okay, interesting. So let's say if I was a business owner and I went
Yeah.
onto Google Analytics and I noticed that there was some pages that maybe do have a high bounce rate. How, if I didn't have Hotjar, for example, how would I maybe know what to test and change on there? Is it just a case of maybe getting rid of the pages, or do I refresh them? How would I go about kind of fixing that problem?
That's a good question. Hmm. I think you'd have to maybe think about redesigning. If it's really high, then it might need a total overhaul. Um, yeah, it might. It's a bit of trial and error. But what you can do with Google Analytics, you can do what's called A/B testing. So you can have your original page, and then you can design another page, and then your visitors get sent to those two different pages. And then you can see if those new changes you've made have improved the bounce rate over the original design. So that's a possible thing you can do.
Oh, okay, that's really interesting. So if someone was to go on the website and they were to click on that page, they would either see like option one, which was maybe the original, or option two, which is something that's been updated or changed, so that
Exactly.
you can identify which one works the best.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, really interesting. And just, I know we touched on it a little bit before. So with Google Analytics and website analytics in general, what other benefits does it have? I know a lot of business owners kind of don't want to get done, kind of inundated, I suppose, with
Yeah.
data, especially if it is quite technical. But is the things that they can learn by looking at the numbers? I know there's things like bounce rate,
Yeah.
which we've mentioned.
Yeah. Totally. So like you can see basically where people are coming from. So in terms of marketing campaigns, you can see whether marketing campaigns working or not because it actually says on it organic, it says social, it says paid search and paid Google, I think as well. So you can identify where your obviously marketing budget's going. You can see what devices as well they're coming from. So does your site need to be even more mobile optimized rather than being desktop focused? Do you need to really put your design work into the mobile side of things? You can understand also demographics like what ages, what kind of is it male or female people that more come to the site, and with that information, you can then retarget your campaigns to those particular people, basically. What else? Yeah, I think that's about it, really.
Okay. Yeah, I know. So, for those who don't know, my background is in paid advertising, and I know that when you run sort of ads campaigns on social media or online, they are notorious for over-reporting the results. So if you run a campaign on Facebook ads, for example, Facebook might say that you've got like 10 sales when really you've maybe only got four or five. So it can be quite good to look at a third party like Google Analytics or like some other options to see what results you've actually got from your marketing campaigns and how they compare. I know from my experience, one of the things that I really liked about Google Analytics was instead of just saying, and I know John, you might have seen this yourself, instead of just saying, oh, these users were from Google or these users were from Facebook, it can give a little bit more of a nuanced conversation than that. So it might say, these people saw you on Google and then they originally clicked on the Facebook ad, or it might have a mixture of the customer journey rather than just one or the other, which I think that can be really helpful to see
Yeah,
how many touch points the audience has as well, can't it?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay, interesting. Is there any other kind of tips or advice that you do have? Any maybe trends that you've seen at the minute?
Um, Not at the moment, to be honest. It's kind of like you got to look at obviously your industry that you design a site for, and
Mhm.
like make sure you're not like totally different to everyone else. You want to be like kind of similar but offering something different.
Like a
Um,
better version.
yeah, a better version. What's in there? Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. So I think that is all of the questions that we did have for John. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to see. Here we go. So what I will do is I'm going to send a link into the chat. And this is essentially just a little audit or a bit of advice that you can get from us. If there is anyone watching this now that has either issues with their website or would like support from Start Digital on either websites, marketing, customer data, hardware, software, anything like that, you do currently get a free fact find session with either myself or one of our other experts. And we can help you identify some key areas for your business to grow and succeed and also become future proof. So I'm just going to make sure I send this to everyone. So we will also send you this link after this webinar via an email. So if you do have any questions, you can contact us there. And John, if anyone has any questions for you or would like to get in touch, where's best to find you? Do you have a LinkedIn at all?
I do, yeah. Should I send it in the chat?
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
Just bear with me.
And then if anybody wants to ask you any technical website questions, I'm sure they can send it over to you directly as well.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
And they can finally see what you look like as well.
I know.
Since they've got absolutely no idea. Okay, fabulous. So I'll give everyone a few minutes just in case if they do want to copy and paste those links anywhere. But John, thank you very much for joining us this week. It has been a pleasure. And thank you everyone else for checking in with us this week. And I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your week. And also next week, we will be doing a webinar on email marketing and growing an email list. So we will send you all a link for that when it's ready as well. Okay. One question, actually, I've just seen we do have a question in the Q&A section. So John, I am going to ask you this.
Okay.
I can see it says that you're typing.
I was about to reply.
we can answer it to the room. It's okay.
Yeah.
What should the bounce rate be below, please, John?
There's no definite answer, but it's ideally around about 40%. They say below 40 is ideal.
Okay, so below 40%. I suppose that sounds like it's quite a high number, isn't it? But there can be quite a lot of kind of bots and people clicking on who aren't legit.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like slightly, what's that? It's just slightly less than half of your visitors. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Again, if there is any more questions, then please let either myself know through the link that we've sent you. You can also email any of our team, or you can give John a bit of a peck on LinkedIn as well. So that is all from us today. It was very nice to see you all, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Goodbye.
Bye.